Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of the viewers. This is your host Vaibhav for today's session of JForex Indicators Explained. We will be looking at one momentum indicator whose name is also the momentum indicator. We will see how we can take the advantage of this indicator using various situation in which we will have the indicator giving us the guidance whether the underlying momentum is on bullish side, bearish side, and it does it simply by comparing its price moves from the prior period to the current period. And using that, if the price is on the rise, we have the positive directional basis, and if the price is in decline, then we have the bearish directional basis. So let us now head to the Visual JForex, the JForex 4 platform, the newly released trading platform from the Dukascopy Bank SA. This is the USD JPY chart with the candle period being defined at hourly, and I have added this MOM momentum indicator with the calculation period of 10, which is also its default setting. This is a unbounded oscillator. Its output is going to vary from positive territory to negative territory. It is unbounded in the sense that there can be difference of any amount between the current period's closing value and the closing value, whatever is your chosen calculation period. So between that value, there cannot be a limit. So because of that, we have this indicator's output, which is also unbounded. And if you consider its moves, you can see that when we have the underlying instrument in sideways territory, the indicator works quite well. We don't really get any sharp zigzag moves. So in that sense, I think this is a good indicator to work with. We have these directional basis when the trend is strong, and we don't get many false signals when the underlying instrument is not really going anywhere. So in that sense, when the indicator is coupled with another indicator, then you can, I think, filter out these phases where the underlying instrument is simply in consolidation phase, and in that case you can avoid taking the trade entries as the moves tend to be very narrow. You don't really stand to gain much even if you take the trade. So in those kind of circumstances, it is better to simply sit on the sidelines and wait for better opportunities. And when there is a strong move, you can take into account the MOM's output values, and if you see its decline or rise showing substantial move away from its prior values, then that signifies significant change in the price direction for the underlying instrument. So you can even consider its magnitude and compare it to the recent output values, and there you get the idea of the relative momentum shift for the underlying instrument, in this case the USD JPY. So here you can notice that there was not much of a change happening in the output value of the MOM indicator for a long time, but then it saw a significant decline, and that is the time when we see the break, and the rate of change also is quite fast. That is the time to initiate the new trade entries. And on the buy side also we can see that earlier it was stagnant almost on the negative side, and then we saw this sharp jump on the higher side. So this is the time to change our directional bias and shift our focus, shift our trading horizon also, and look for opportunities to go in the direction of this sharp move. So if we were to take this sell trade after this sharp decline here, somewhere closer to this, I think we would have been able to make good amount of money. And similarly for the buy side after this reversal, if you were to have taken this trade, I think you might have been sitting in good amount of money into the station itself. So that's how this indicator gives you the idea of the trend. It is quite simple to understand. The concept is simple. it is only dependent on the price changes. So for example here, if we consider its current output value, and that output value is derived using its current closing price and the closing price 10 hours back. So right now the time is 19. So I think I will have to go back to 9 UTC plus 3 somewhere here, and that amounts to the difference of around 40 pips, and that's what is being reflected in this output value also. So this is the difference, actual difference between these two different time periods, and 40 pips is the output. When it is in negative territory, when the current closing price is less than the prior closing price, we will have this output in negative, because the deduction of the current closing from the prior closing, the prior closing from the current closing is going to get you the output in a negative side. And whenever we have sharp moves from one side to the another, the relative output value is going to change quite fast compared to the recent output values, and that can be taken as a strong signal to look for the initiation of the trade in the direction of that change. All right, so let us now see what are the editing options available to us for this indicator. Indicator, we get these two input parameters which we can vary: the price, close price, open price, high price. So depending on what kind of applied price you are going for, you will always have different types of output. So now if we were to change it to say high price, you will have these changes reflected, where whenever there is sharp move on the higher side, it will be showing significant jump, but after that initial momentum fades, we will see rather stabilization of the output value. And when we use low value as the applied price, the initial jump on the lower side will be registered quite fast. But these indicators, output value, output price, is going to be affected on both the sides. Now that we are using high price at its applied price, when it moves sharply on the upper side, that move is registered quite fast. But its low price is going to not vary much, and as a result of that, that is that means whenever the shift is going to happen on the lower side, it will be slower to respond. And if we use low price as its applied price, in that case it will be reacting fast to the bearish change. But when the momentum shifts from bearish to bullish, the lag will be there in its output value also turning side, right? So here, low price, and as you can notice that it took some time for these indicators output to shift on the higher side when I am using low price as its applied price, but shift on the lower side is registered quite fast. Now I will revert it back to close price. If you want to take into consideration the price moves quite uh, which are of quite recent vintage, then you can use lower time period for the calculation of the indicator. But If you want to take into consideration the price moves over the larger time frame, then you can increase it also. Suppose if you want to look at the price changes over last 24 hours, you will have to increase its calculation period to 24, and as a result of that there is going to be some lag, and even if recent move is quite sharp, it will take some time for it to be reflected. So this larger calculation period will smoothen out some sharp moves, but there will be more lag in terms of its trend change. All right. Now coming to the defining of the output parameter, we get this line. Now it is a simple line, but if you want to style it up, you can do that. We get these options. These options are there, and you can even change this color combination. You can even go for two different types of color combinations, one for up and one for downside. You can increase its width as well. Transparency, if you want to lower it, you can do that as well. So we have now this line looking much more colorful, and it is much easier to spot the trend change also, as we are defining this combination of two colors, one for the downside and one for the upside. All right. Levels, we don't really have any levels defined for this indicator. Now coming to these advanced editing options, if you want the recalculation to be done only on new candle, then you have to opt in for this box, and if you do that, then this output value will remain constant throughout the current candle period. But if you opt out of these, then depending on what is the current value of the applied price, it will keep fluctuating. So both these options have their drawbacks and their positive signs. So you have to see which one works best for you and accordingly define that parameter. Highlight the time period zone. If you want to be mindful of what is the calculation period, then you can opt for highlighting the calculation period. So this makes it easier to spot what is our current calculation period. All right. If you want to customize the calculation further, then you get the choice of instrument from the chart. So whatever is the chart's current instrument, it will be used for the calculation purpose of the indicator also. So suppose if I change the chart from USD JPY to say Euro USD, the plotting of the indicator will be now done for these MOM indicator depending on these pricing data of the Euro USD, whereas earlier it was USD JPY. So it works for all the instruments on this platform. Calculate from custom data. Again, we get this option of defining the calculation period. It can be same for similar to use from the chart. In that case, whatever is the chart's calculation period, candle period, it will be used as the candle period for the calculation purpose of the indicator also. But if you want to vary the indicator's candle period from the chart candle period, that can also be done. Here the chart candle period is hourly, but the calculation of this indicator is being done while considering the candle period of each candle for the purpose of calculation of the indicator as 15 minutes. So this is based on lower time frame data, even though the chart is on the higher time frame. On shorter period, displays values at custom period end, start, middle, or each. You can opt in for any of the option, and there is going to be some difference in output, but just for the period of time, whatever is your chosen criteria. Now I will revert it back to use from the chart side. Spread side can be ask or bid. We get these two options, and depending on these spread side, there will be slight difference in the output value, but it won't be much significant, and it will always move in tandem unless there is a fluctuation in the spread of the underlying instrument itself. If you want the indicator to be available on all the candle periods, then you have to opt in for this. Otherwise, you have to specify on which candle periods these indicators should be providing you with these output values, and only on those candle periods the output of the indicator will be visible. Suppose if we define 5 minutes and 1 hour as the only two candle period on which these indicators should be available, we won't be getting it. Suppose if we change the charts candle period to 30 minutes, then there is not going to be any output of the MOM indicator. But if I plot it for 5 minutes, I will have this output of the MOM. Again, it will vanish if I change it to 4 hourly. So that's how this customization works. It makes your data generation easier to keep the chart clean. You can use different indicators on the different time frames and on different time horizon. So you can read much more into the data using various indicators while making sure that the data which you are relying on is not getting cluttered, and it is still crystal clear to make the informed trading decision. All right. So with these editing options, we are done with most of the editing options given on the platform for these indicator. But its uses are myriad. You can always find new ways to use this indicator for the purpose of finding the profitable trading opportunities. So I would suggest that you try it out, see how you can customize this indicator to work for finding trading opportunities to profit in this dynamic market. And to that extent, I think this MOM indicator, the momentum indicator, is going to be quite helpful. So that's all from my side for today's session. If you have any query or any idea to share, you can write back to me in the feedback section, and I will be more than happy to take the discussion forward. For further coverage of the market developments, do check out the Dukascopy analytics page. We are also available on the Facebook. You can reach out to us there too for trying out this newly released trading platform and its various features. I have also linked in the bio. So give it a try. Thank you all for joining in. I will be back tomorrow with a new indicator, new uses, new explanations. So do come back. Goodbye.